Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com, and on iHeartRadio. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, I woke up this morning, I looked at the calendar, and I'm reminded once again that it's December 2025, gone in the blink of an eye, but not gone quite yet. The holiday season is here, and there is still one Garland County area school still playing high school football in the final month of the year. Congratulations to the Lakeside Rams for the first time in 50 years. They're in War Memorial Stadium, one game, one win, one moment, all the marbles later today. The Rams take on Joe T. Robinson in the Class 5A championship game. 50 years, Tracy, since Chick Austin, who the field is named after now, led players like John Utley, Travis Morehart, Hunter Sexton, and Mike Foster to the championship game against the Stuttgart Ricebirds in 1975. But Lakeside did not win that football game, Tracy. They fell, and they have not been back since until today.
I've heard those stories time and time again because my cousin, Roger Gossett, was on that team, of all things, and I hear that story just about every Thanksgiving. And now that it's in front of us and more prevalent with these times, I hear it a little bit more often. And sure enough, talking to him on the phone the other day, he reminded me how, they played a hard game, hard-fought game, and it just wasn't meant to be. And you know what? I think this time around, of course, I wasn't at that game, but I know that I've seen Lakeside play this year. I know that the team that they've got is very road tested, and that's what's going to be the big challenge for them. That Mark is that it's comfortable when you're in your home facility, and I know Robinson's going to it's sort of like a home road game for them too. They've played in War Memorial this year already, against some other teams, and they're just down the road from there. Lakeside's got to travel, but as we've seen, traveling hadn't been a problem for them so far. And I'm going to bring up one other point here in just a minute. But you'd said something about, what their schedule was this week. But, boy, if anybody's got them in the right direction, Coach Rock's got them right there where I think that it's a very winnable game.
Let's talk about Coach Rockwell a little bit here. His third year as head coach of the Rams, the defensive coordinator turned head coach for Lakeside. The Rams finished 8-4, reached the second round of the playoffs in his first year. That was 2023. Last year, they finished 10-3. They reached the Class 5A semifinals, defeating Joe T. Robinson along the way before falling in a heartbreaker shootout with Farmington. Man. And then in last week's it was like a scene out of a movie. You mentioned War Memorial Stadium. Yeah, Joe T. Robinson, they're really just right down the road in West Little Rock, so it's not really that much of a road trip for them. But Lakeside actually just came off of a War Memorial Stadium appearance because last week in the hero versus villain arc, that win over Little Rock Parkview was like the redemption story for the Rams. Of course, Lakeside lost 3 games this regular season. 1, week 2, Joe T. Robinson. They also lost to Parkview, and they lost to Hot Springs in the week 10 finale, which gave the Trojans the conference title for the first time in quite a few years. Lakeside goes on the road last week, hostile territory. Little Rock Parkview at War Memorial comes away with the huge win. It felt like the climax of an epic movie where the protagonist finally vanquishes their longtime foe and the haunting ghosts standing between them and their destiny are finally vanquished. The story is not over yet, though. Although Lakeside was very happy to take down Parkview, Joe T. Robinson, this is a fun little friendly rivalry between these two teams here. Are the Senators favored? Yeah, they are. They're undefeated, and they're looking for the first undefeated season in program history at Robinson. Lakeside went into the playoffs as the number 3 seed out of the 5A South, and I'll be the first to tell you, actually, I won't be the first to tell you, they were overlooked and underestimated by pretty much everyone on their road to where they are right now. Huge playoff win over Greenbrier, 24-21. They beat Little Rock Parkview a week ago, 25-21. And when you talk about some of the greatest teams in Lakeside history. You look first at last year, a team that we really thought last year was going to be the year. And then they got tripped up by, I mean, it was just a couple points against Farmington. And I fully believe that had Lakeside won that game, they would have won it all. So they come back, they're hungry for more. They keep their nose down. They lose a few games. They never wave the white flag. And then here they are. You're quite possibly looking at the greatest Lakeside Rams football team in school history right now. Win or lose, we don't know what's going to happen. They don't kick off for T-minus less than 2 hours from the moment we're speaking right now. But Drew Morgan, the senior wide receiver, he's averaging 107 yards per game. Big play threat. Peter Oman, the junior running back wide receiver combo, nearly 100 rushing yards per game, 21 total touchdowns. Chris Ford on defense, 8.8 tackles per game, 5 picks this year. Vincent Henry, really that pass rush anchor with 4 sacks this year. Wally Walcott, looking to etch his name into high school football lore as the team's quarterback. This just feels like a magical season getting to this point. And I think after winning at War Memorial Stadium literally a week ago, you might call Robinson the favorite in this game because of the record, and that's fine. Lakeside is definitely not an underdog, though.
No, they're not, Mark. In the game they played earlier this year, it was a lot closer than what the score dictated. At the end of the game, there were some so-so calls. I'm not going to go there with the Zebras, but also, some timeouts and stuff that didn't take effect. And so the game, I know it looked lopsided, but it really wasn't until the fourth quarter. But I'm going to go a little bit further deep into this. You and I were just talking about this earlier. Coach Rock, defensive mastermind.
Yes.
Okay? Then you look over at the Senators coach, Updegrove, defensive mastermind.
That's right, taking over for Escola, who stepped away back last December.
Exactly. So, but longtime defensive guy for the Senators.
Yes.
Under Escola. Now, these teams usually are in the early and late middle. I mean, they get 30 points a game or more. But if you've looked at the games that they've played, it's a defensive matchup. It's a chess match between two defensive coaches that, now don't get me wrong, these two offenses score and they score a lot. But if you notice these games that they've played, it's a defensive struggle, and I expect nothing but the same on this game this afternoon. And I think that, their offenses are going to score some. They do that a lot. But also we've got to look at that chess match, the internal part of it, where these two coaches, they know each other.
Of course they do.
And they know the strategies. And when it gets to this level, you know that they're going to pull all the stops out with blitzes, with stunts, anything they can. And, of course, Mark, what do I always talk about? That special teams effect.
Your favorite part.
That's right, man. And I'm telling you, it was part of it in the 8 games they played earlier, as we almost had a run back on kickoff. We almost had a run back on punt. So I think the full 3 phases, but you're going to look at defense and special teams as the key matchups in this matchup.
This should be a very good football game. Of course, Joe T. Robinson, look, you're not 13-0 and just a run-of-a-mill team in Class 5A football. You've earned the right to be here, and they had a very impressive performance over a Morrilton Devil Dog team, which upsets really Hot Springs on their home field and nearly takes care of Joe T. Robinson as well. The Senators were down 8 points late in this one, scored the final 15 to take the win 35-28. Now, everybody's going to look back at week 2. Well, Robinson beat Lakeside in week 2. It was 35-16. You can make the argument that the game was actually a lot closer than what the final score indicated there, but a lot of football has been played between week 2 and week whatever we're on now. This is the final week of the season, no matter what. So, these teams have evolved. They've grown. Lakeside's taken some lumps. And I'll make the argument that those losses, even the most recent loss, the one to Hot Springs, made this team better, lit a fire underneath this team. And of course, these two teams, they kind of, the coaches know each other. And I'm sure they respect each other. But these two teams don't like each other. Let's be honest. They meet up quite a bit. I think it's the 4th meeting in the past couple of years here. And this feels like a John Wayne movie, really. I know we were talking about that before we started to record, but it feels like an old Western shootout where everybody meets at high noon. It just happens to be on the battlefield at War Memorial Stadium for all the marbles. It really feels like that because the stakes are high for both of these teams. But Lakeside looking to do something, one, that it's never done before, just reaching the game for the first time in 50 years. They're looking to finally bring that trophy home to Garland County. And Tracy, I really like their chances. Of course, the big name, Tucker Young. He's going to be playing for the Arkansas Razorbacks next year. But that defensive front led by that all-state tackler, he's 6'5", 305. That line for Lakeside has really been the foundation of their playoff run. You have to be able to protect Wally Walcott and open the lanes, whether it's Omen in the running game or some of these wide receiver standouts out there. That's where it's really going to come down to, like what you like to say, the battle in the trenches. Who has more gas left in the tank? We know that Robinson has proven that they can be behind in the fourth quarter and surge back for a turnaround. So there's no white flag, and everybody knows what's at stake here. So I think that, the success of the ground game will be very instrumental for Omen and the Rams as well to try to really tire out this defense for Robinson. And it's going to be a healthy mesh of both that's going to allow Lakeside to be successful here. You got to use the run to set up the pass, I believe, in this instance. And Robinson's got a very shifty, talented receiver. His name is Braylon Brown, and he averages 107 receiving yards per game. He's kind of like the big play threat for the Senators as well. Drew Morgan versus Braylon Brown is going to be a receiver matchup that I think is going to be one for the ages as well. This is the must-see championship game. I know they're all good, and there's a bunch of championship games being played. This one feels like the best one on paper coming up today.
I think it's all due to what you just said a while ago. I think it's not quite the status of a conference rivalry, but I think it's an in-state rivalry right now that they've began with the classifications. As it is right now, Lakeside's been there, and Robinson's moved up a couple of times, and they possibly may be moving again after this year, from what I'm understanding in the AAA.
Right.
So we'll see how that passes.
Yeah, I believe it would push them up to 6A.
They're going to 6A as it is. So this could be the final rubber match of the whole ordeal between these two. But you're right. There's a lot of key matchups with players also that if you've seen them, some of the action throughout the year of either one of these teams, they've got some key players that are going to be playing at the next level. And at this time, I'm going to say, like we've always said, there's nicks, there's bruises, there's bumps, there's this and that.
There's key players on both squads that are not 100% for this. The media will tell you different. We're telling you like it is.
I'm just telling you right now, I know for a fact, I've been to the practices, I've seen some of these, and some of them are going to be playing. But golly, when you get on that field, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been there, done it. You just, sometimes you forget all about it.
You're right.
And you get after it, and you go as much as you can till the final whistle, and then they'll settle the score. I'm telling you, this is exciting, buddy. I'm telling you, I'm getting goosebumps right now, waiting for it. I can't wait to watch it.
I know, and when it comes down to it, I don't have a dog in the fight.
No.
Specifically whenever it goes to Lakeside. My kids don't go to Lakeside, but it feels like it's a game and a moment for all of Garland County. No matter what school you represent, no matter what school your kids go to or what school you went to, and the vibe and the energy just around town this week has been incredible with the big parade at Lakeside. And of course, I'm looking at some special young men looking to etch their name into the history books. Chris Ford is another big one for the Lakeside Rams, that defensive mastermind. I kind of mentioned it before, 5 interceptions. He will be key in slowing down Robinson quarterback Reese Simpson. They've got a passing game that really thrives on spreading the ball to multiple receivers. Chris Ford is really, really good at reading where the ball is going to go, not where the ball is. And it's that kind of football IQ that separates the boys from the men out there on the field. So I'm really excited for that as well. I think Lakeside's got to take control of the line of scrimmage. Also, keep that offense off balance for Robinson. They've got a lot of depth. They have a lot of athleticism. Of course, Fountain Lake has played Robinson many times in recent years. They have multiple ways to attack you, but Lakeside has also played a bunch of close games this year. A lot of wins, sure, to get to where they are right now, but those 2 playoff wins, like I mentioned, 3 points over Greenbrier, 4 points over Parkview. They know how to stand tall when the game is on the line. I'm really excited for this one. Can't say enough about it.
Yep, weather's going to be good. It's going to be nice and chilly out there, but I tell you what, this is going to be one you don't want to miss. And if you get a chance, go ahead and check it out. And we'll be talking about it again next week. Some pretty cool stuff.
Hey, if you're listening, kickoff at 12 o'clock, high noon at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. If you're just learning about the game, that means you still have time to get there and get yourself a great seat. It's going to be a great game. Congratulations to Lakeside on making it to the title game for the first time in 50 years. And go Rams. More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We've got some college sporting news with a new head coach. Oh, yes, you've been waiting for our take, and you're about to get it when we come back on 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, Arkansas Razorback football. Well, the season is finally over. No bowl game for the Razorbacks here. And it started off as a season with a lot of promise. 2-0, wins over Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. And then the wheels kind of fell off from there. Ole Miss, Memphis, Notre Dame, and the list goes on and on and on. Sam Pittman is fired. Bobby Petrino is given a second chance. He comes back in. The redemption arc, everybody's favorite coach that got away for some personal issues, is back to lead the way. And Arkansas did not pick up a single win throughout the rest of the way. Now, you have to make the argument they were close. Multiple times. They were competitive. Multiple times. But even fan favorite Bobby Petrino couldn't get the Razorbacks over the hump. We knew that there was a coaching search ongoing for pretty much most of the season at this point. Now, we knew that Bobby Petrino was a name that was thrown into the mix as a potential finalist considered for the job. And also, before we began recording our show a week ago, a little birdie told us, our new coach is Alex Golesh. Here we go, new hog.
Yeah.
And there's a reason we didn't say anything last week, because we just couldn't be sure. The timing felt off. One, Arkansas still had to play Missouri. It felt weird naming a new head coach before the season was over. We saw a letter come out from Coach Bobby Petrino saying, whatever happens, I really enjoyed the second chance. Thanks, Hog Nation. Thank you. Felt like Bobby Petrino was out the door. Felt like it could have been Alex Golesh. But Alex Golesh is not the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. We found out a few days later, it is Ryan Silverfield, the coach of the Memphis Tigers. The team that defeated Arkansas. And the team, you could make the argument, really set this entire season into the downward spiral that it became. So, Ryan Silverfield is the guy. It's official. The contract details are out there. They're pretty juicy, I guess, to say the least. He comes from Memphis with no SEC head coaching experience, and he wasn't the splashy name that people hoped for. In fact, on the same day that Silverfield was officially announced, there was a protest on the U of A campus, Hogs fans wearing paper bags. When I heard that story develop, Tracy, I immediately told my wife, I said, I am not surprised, because Razorback fans, while I will say nicely, they are the most passionate fan base, I believe, in all of collegiate football in the United States of America. I also think that sometimes they're the least hopeful and maybe the sorest losers at times as well. I know I might get backlash for that, but hear me out on this. So Bobby Petrino was not chosen due to the interim status, had some past baggage, and I think the program really just had a desire for a fresh start. Petrino stepped in. Was he ever seriously considered for a permanent return? I say yes, but I think that there was just still some difficult moments that were happening in the locker room, in the direction of the program. I think that Arkansas and Hunter Yurachek just wanted a fresh face as the head of this program. The problem is, I think a lot of Razorback fans were hoping for a big name, that big hire. Maybe we'll get Lane Kiffin. Maybe we'll get, the head coach from Oregon coming over. But the fact of the matter is as the season developed and we saw other dominoes begin to fall, LSU, for example, it was pretty much obvious that Ole Miss was going to make a change and Kiffin was going to go elsewhere. When you saw these other schools, Kentucky and Auburn, everybody else in the SEC, literally 6 schools in the SEC having a head coach opening, that's when we needed to start and really look at this and like, Arkansas's chances don't look super good now in terms of getting that big name because there are just greener pastures that are becoming available. And the Razorbacks may be forced to settle for somebody that nobody really loves. And I think that may be what happened right here.
Mark, and here's one of the issues that I've got. I mean, we've been in the media for several years, okay? And I don't know why these other guys have got to come out and trying to be first on the spot. I've never understood that.
It does feel like that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, and there's no need for it. Why do they do this when knowing that there's other factors that are involved? Instead of getting people all hyped up and getting them all, oh, we got the guy, blah, 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 this and that. And then it's never true. And you said it, this dates all the way back prior to Bill. We're talking about, years and years ago when a guy named Coach Broyles was still in the picture. We had several hires, but this isn't nothing new to the hiring atmosphere for the Razorbacks as far as football. This goes back, as soon as we got in the SEC, Mark, this merry-go-round has been going around nonstop for eons, and I'm talking all the way back to the Danny Ford eras and such like that. And I don't know, some of you youngers may not remember some of the merry-go-round ride that we went through, but all the different scenarios, and I know you remember, Mark, but this isn't the first time, and it's not going to be the last. I know this guy's got potential. There's no doubt about that. He's been at the collegiate level. He's been at the professional level, but he's only been at that head coach level, few years as it is. And we know who Norvell was, over there, another Arkansas guy.
Yeah.
And so we know what he's capable of doing. But you made a statement a while ago that really hit close to home. SEC production, SEC caliber. But here's another interesting fact, and you're a numbers guy. You realize Memphis, whether he was assistant coach or offensive line coach or head coach, has beat SEC teams in the last 5 years 4 times.
That is correct.
Okay?
That is correct. And his record at Memphis, 50-25.
So
he's winning 2 out of 3.
Right.
4-0 in bowl games for the Tigers as well. And if you remember, I know it's been a long, difficult year this year, Memphis was in that top 12 CFP discussion for quite some time.
They were there
as well. Now, I think what a lot of Hog fans, what I've seen on social media, what they're really harping on is, well, he's never coached in the SEC. He's not even a Power 5 coach. Even at Memphis, with the great record in the bowl games, Memphis has still never won an AAC championship under Silverfield, and it raises some doubts about his ceiling and what he might be able to do. I also think some of the distaste for this hire is still the sour taste left in the mouth. Here's the deal. Silverfield's Tigers defeated Arkansas this year. Remember, 32-31? That was the heartbreaker. I mentioned it before. That was the game. That was the moment that everything fell apart. So I think Razorback fans almost look like Silverfield as the one to blame, even though it's not necessarily fair to place the blame there. This really feels like a safe hire for Arkansas. I don't know that it's going to move the needle. I was reading through his contract, and he has all these bonuses and stuff. He gets an extra $1 million if he wins the CFP championship next year, and he gets, I think, an extra $500,000 if he makes it to the final, and all these just luxurious things in there. Look, you have to temper your expectations. And I know a lot of people are calling for Hunter Yurachek's head here. He's the head of the CFP committee. He's got a head football coach that he's trying to fill at Arkansas. He's spread too thin. What's he doing? And maybe Yurachek does get fired. I don't know when. Maybe it's this offseason. But here's the deal, and the reason why I don't think it will happen, because Arkansas is still achieving success in other athletic programs. It's just not the one that you want. Basketball with Coach Cal, looking pretty good. Maybe middle of the road. We'll see where they're going to go this year. Baseball, we know what the Hogs did this year. Track and field, the lonely giant that everybody seems to forget about, but is arguably the best program
dominant
at the University of Arkansas, hands down, period. Arkansas softball as well, having a very, very good season last year. Arkansas is still a successful SEC athletic school, full stop, end of sentence, just not in football. And you can't have it all. I hope that this coaching hire moves the needle forward. I don't know by how much. You've got Lane Kiffin going to LSU. We're going to talk about that more in the show later on today. But the SEC is going to be wide open and kind of like the Wild Wild West. We have 6 new head coaches in the SEC going into next season. And of course, we still have some teams in the hunt, your Alabamas and your Georgias and even Ole Miss in the CFP picture there. We'll see how this all pans out, but here's what you can be excited about when it comes to Ryan Silverfield. He's come in and he knows because he's reading social media and he's seeing the protests and he's seeing all the negativity. So he knows he needs to come in and he needs to make action quickly. And he's done that. He's flipped a lot of in-state recruits from other schools back to the Hogs. Danny Beal, the defensive lineman, the 4-star, the number 1 player in Arkansas, flipped from Oklahoma State back to the Hogs. TJ Hodges, the running back from Bryant, flips from Missouri back to the Hogs. Anthony Kennedy Jr. from Little Rock Central, a 4-star recruit, one of the top 5 in Arkansas. He's going to the Hogs. Ja'Cory Smith from Bryant, the 3-star, flipping to Arkansas. And we mentioned Tucker Young with the Lakeside Rams. He's playing for a state championship today.
Yep.
He already committed to the Razorbacks, but he's reaffirmed his pledge saying, I am going to stay and I'm going to continue to represent my state. This is the first move that you have to make if you're Silverfield. You have to get the confidence of your fans at home. Don't worry about the national picture. That will come if it comes. You've got to win the fan base here. And one of the biggest ways to do that is by winning the fan bases of the high school teams that those players represent. And I call that a big early win so far.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely, Mark. Look, I'm sure this ain't his first rodeo. And he knows as well as most other coaching hires that he's got to do his own thing. It's just that simple. And hopefully he does it in the right direction, which, from what I've seen as his past, once again, we're going to have to bring this up again because this is a Power 5. This is the SEC. But, Mark, the bottom line is I think you, I think me, I think Joe Dirt could win 2 games in the NCAA for Arkansas. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We could go out there. We wouldn't even need coaches.
Especially with the cupcakes that we schedule. It's insane.
Anybody can win those 2. So here's going to be the question for next year, and I'm already looking next year. What's going to be the breaking point for fans to go, that was a good hire? Or, man, here we go again.
Well,
and we're going to have to look at that next year realistically.
You can technically go backwards from a 2-win season. You hope that you don't. But I think, a very way too early prediction here without seeing what the full squad's going to look like. The baseline goal for 2026 should be 6 wins.
Bowl eligible.
Should
Always.
be.
That's what I was getting at.
That is a realistic
That's
goal
what I was getting
for
at.
year one for a coach that has not coached in the SEC, and you're going to hear that a lot over the next however many months in the offseason here. But Silverfield does have a good track record of developing strong running backs, 1,000-yard rushers, something Arkansas really didn't do well this year. They didn't do a lot well this year, but his offensive schemes also really favor passing quarterbacks and help reduce some of the pressure on them as well. And we're going to be looking at more of a balanced offense, I think, where it's going to be about 50-50 run and pass. The defense certainly has to make some big adjustments as well. You got to give him time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Arkansas is not going to be built back into a contender in 1 year. It's not going to happen. But no matter what you think, no matter how you feel about this hire, even I myself, I said, ooh, that's a lackluster pick. The Razorback fans aren't going to love that. He is the guy. We have to lock in. I say we. Razorback fans have to lock in. He is the guy. You got 2 choices. Either don't support the program or make your best attempt to support the program and see where they can go. Because from here, you weren't going to get a big name coaching hire. You weren't going to get it. What this season's going to ride on, and it's been the story now for how many years? 2 years? It's going to come down to NIL money. It's going to come down to donors and who they can get. Because if you don't have the level of players to match the other SEC schools, it doesn't really matter who your coach is.
Well,
it could be me. And you know what?
I just said
you know what? Hey, just, throw me like $26.
Throw me a bus ticket. How about that one? But, Mark, here's another thing. I know I'm going to bring it up real quick. Look at his teams, but here's what Arkansas has really lacked in the last discipline. It's real simple.
Sure.
the penalties. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The amount of penalties that they've had, not only this year, but the year before, and even going back to Bielema's days and the days before that, the penalties is something that you can't have. The discipline is there. And if there's anything, one take that I'm going to leave this alone, from his standpoint of being in the pros, that's one thing that they will not tolerate is undisciplined. Mm-hmm. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. You don't win at the professional level unless you're disciplined. You don't make it to the professional level unless you have some discipline. And I think that's one thing that he really brings over here. And you saw that when Memphis beat Arkansas this year. They didn't give up. They went down the field methodically with no penalties. And then what Arkansas do? 2 personal at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
To get them the first down that they needed on 4th down.
Yeah.
But what? We handed them the game. No penalties, discipline. I think, if anything, that's what he brings to the table. So that's all I'm going to say.
And all the best to Bobby Petrino. I'm sure that he will land somewhere else. I do. No and may not be in the SEC, but, he certainly, even though he didn't bring the wins in, it was still kind of a fun ride in a weird way to say it. Arkansas was still competitive down the stretch. We were the best 2-win team in the country. I know that doesn't mean anything, but a penalty here, defensive stop here, a score here. Not only is Arkansas not a 2-win team, they're probably a bowl team at that point, and that's how close it is. So if there's anything to be hopeful for this holiday season, if you're a Razorback football fan, know that you were close in a number of games. They weren't just all blowouts. This is a team that isn't starting from zero. They've already got some ground, and you've got to stand behind Silverfield and let's see where this goes. I say 6 wins is the benchmark. Anything more than that is exceeding expectations.
Goal eligible. That's all it is. Bowl eligible.
We have more to talk about with the CFP scenario in NCAA football. That's next when we come back, right here on 92.9 KVRE.
Third quarter coming up.
So, Tracy, we broke down the Arkansas Razorbacks football hire, but you can make the argument that it wasn't the biggest coaching hire in NCAA football this week. That would go to LSU and Lane Kiffin moving from Ole Miss to LSU. Mind you, Ole Miss is heavily entrenched in the CFP discussion, a 11-1 season, and now they are without their head coach as Lane Kiffin moves on to LSU. Bit of controversial timing, if you ask me, but whenever it comes down to it, LSU landing one of the SEC's most proven offensive minds. What were your thoughts on hearing this news regarding Lane Kiffin?
Well, that didn't surprise me at all, Mark. I mean, absolutely did not surprise me with what he's done in his coaching history.
The reputation.
Yeah, no doubt. That didn't surprise me. But what did surprise me was what came out of the contract and how they're going to pay Ole Miss and pay the coaches there and pay some other things and pay bonuses here. And they don't even have really anything to do with it. I mean, they're going to add to the numbers, which is staggering, by the way. But that's what surprised me, just the amount of money for this carousel to keep going in circles and the domino effect that it had, and for everybody to be on pins and needles. Oh, my goodness, to see Lane Kiffin do what he does best, and that's mess up right after one after another. He's been doing it for years. And I don't see anything changing different at LSU.
I was curious to get your take on that because whenever you talk about, Lane Kiffin being the biggest coaching hire out of this whole just, hot stove, everything's on fire thing, I remember a few years ago where Lane Kiffin was, dare I say, maybe the laughingstock of college football.
He was.
A failed tenure in the NFL, coming back to college football, and he's found success, to his credit. He's found success, especially with his offenses, but still really hasn't won anything super big. And that's why this move baffles me a little bit. And to me, it sends the message that Kiffin very obviously wanted to get out of Mississippi. But this is a team, an Ole Miss team, that is really, really good, Tracy. Now, are they good enough to somehow defeat Ohio State down the way and win the whole CFP? I doubt it. But at least they're in the discussion. And this is an eye-opener to me. So Lane Kiffin's move, I see it as controversial. He leaves an 11-1 Rebels team on the verge of its first CFP appearance. LSU also sort of living up to its reputation, poaching an SEC coach out of a rival mid-season. I think Ole Miss fans feel betrayed by the move. I think LSU fans feel a little bit divided over the timing. I think the broader college football world is also stunned that a coach would walk away before the CFP. Is Ole Miss the favorite to win it all? No. But are they I don't think they're going to be a one and done in the postseason either. It makes me wonder what is important to Lane Kiffin here, because he has a winning team, a very good team, possibly the best Ole Miss team ever, and he walks away 11-1. He's not going to coach him in the postseason, right? He's already gone.
He's already done. He can't.
He's done. He's gone. Cut ties. It's over.
No, that's
going to LSU, where he's going to be sitting on his couch. He's going to be sitting on his couch watching Ole Miss in the postseason. What message does that send, not only to Ole Miss, because I'm sure that all season long, hey, this is us. We can do this. This is us. We together. All of a sudden, that us, we together isn't there anymore. Now they're left to do it without their head coach. Now the defensive coordinator's stepped up, and he will be the head coach. They're going to be fine. What message does it send to Ole Miss? Did he really, truly have the best interest of the team? Did he really, truly have their back? I'll make the argument, what message does it send to LSU? It's kind of like one of those things, you start dating a girl, and she's kind of with somebody already, but then she breaks up with him to be with you. But the fact of the matter is there was no loyalty there. So how do you have the guarantee that you're going to have the loyalty in your new situation? If I'm LSU, I'm cautiously optimistic because seems to me like Lane Kiffin, now I get it, money talks, and it's probably it could be a better living situation. It could be better in so many different ways. I don't know what's important to him. But to me, on the outside looking in, it tells me that the only thing that's important in this scenario is cash money. Not the players, not the program, not even winning a championship or being in the driver's seat to win a championship. It's all about the money, all about the Benjamins. I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay, Mark, you ready? Let's go back. Okay, look at Lane Kiffin, where he went from even the days, and follow those footprints. It was money, no doubt. And from him being, like you said, the professional ranks coming back, California. Remember those California days?
I do.
Suspensions.
I do.
See? Money that was under the table. Certain things that didn't, get brought because they didn't want it in the media. And these bigger pockets, L.A. and such, if they don't want it to be out on the table, they're not going to show it on the table. It's not going to be served up, all right? But here's the kicker. You're absolutely right. But the Lane Kiffins of the world don't care, Mark. They don't care. They're not coaches like that hardly anymore that care about the kids. That was the first thing, me. That was the first thing that came up in my mind. I touched on it last week about what do the young men, what is that telling our young men?
Exactly.
Of the world these days, that you can just chew them up and spit them out. It's just that simple. Now, here's what bothers me even more is LSU hiring them. That really, to me, why do they think this is such a great product? I don't understand that.
I was going to make that same point because you're right.
That is beyond me. Do they just think that money cures everything? Obviously so. But then also Lane Kiffin better watch his back too, because look at the last couple of coaches that were at LSU.
The LSU Tiger fan base is extremely passionate, and they have no bones about it. They will not only run you out of town, they'll do it in a dialect that you can't even understand. Exactly.
They'll have people Le Pew out there with the stinker on you, buddy. I'm telling you.
LSU felt the pressure, I believe. And it's wild that really Lane Kiffin was the biggest coaching, I say air quote, free agent available here. In any other year, you'd be like, Lane Kiffin's looking for a job? Surely we can do better, right?
Hello?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. And
what about their board, though? Their board has failed in the last hires. So if you think
about all the money they're paying to Brian Kelly right now. It was deemed that he was fired without cause. It's really just legal jargon that they use. You're basically fired for cause or without cause.
Oh, my goodness.
That's it. It's a 50-50. But the thing is, Brian Kelly is getting a massive payday. Lane Kiffin is also presumably getting a massive payday to come in To LSU, where are they getting all the money?
They're still paying Coach O.
Exactly.
Hello? I mean, really? Where is this money coming from? Who's watching that bank note right now?
LSU feels like a program, at least financially, that I don't know if there's worse than drowning.
I mean,
but it feels like they're drowning.
Oh, you think?
And it feels like that this is kind of like when you go to the casino and it hasn't been a very good night for you and you're down to like your last $5 and you've lost like $500, probably even more than that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know what?
Let it ride.
Let's go. Last $5. We're throwing our last $5 on the table, win or lose. We're going to finish empty.
Mark, hey, look at the calendar right now. Look at the calendar. I want to go back a year from now, 1 year from now, and maybe even stretch it out 2 years. Let's go just 1 year right now, and let's see what he does. Because the expectations, we just said 6-6 a while ago, right?
For Arkansas.
What do you think the expectations are for LSU?
The expectations for LSU are a lot higher than that. I'm going to be honest with you.
8-4 this year?
I mean,
and they were wanting to hang them?
Coming off, I know.
When's the last time Arkansas had an 8-win season? Yellow.
Well, if Ole Miss can be 11-1 when Kiffin is gone, I mean, the expectation on the LSU side, I mean, honestly, is national championship. Are they going to get it? No, they will not get it. No. But realistically, objectively, you're looking at a CFP appearance.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. And you were asking this a while ago about the money. Look, here's a lot of the money, TV, media.
Yeah.
You're looking at all that money rolling in from them. Also,
well, because the New Orleans Saints are not big money makers right now down in the bayou.
I think that the Tigers could have beat the Saints this year. But anyway, that's a whole nother story we'll bring up another time. But if you look at this, go into and you're the numbers guy. By next week, go look and see the top teams in this nation that are getting the most media money.
Okay.
All right. LSU is in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying a while ago about Arkansas difference. LSU football, LSU basketball, LSU baseball. The top three.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And where are they always at? At the top always. And where are they always at? On TV, on radio, every sporting board LSU. So, you're asking where the money coming from? Well, guess what? When you're getting paid $1 jillion to be on TV, I'm just telling you right now, that's where the money's coming from. All these different contracts, not just, I'm sure there's plenty of jillionaires in Louisiana and maybe on the board for LSU or other, affairs with whatever they do down there. But I'm telling you, a lot of it's coming from the media department, television, all the rights to that, Mark. Unbelievable numbers. I want you to look into that. You're going to be, I know what the numbers are. And we're going to look at it next week and talk about it.
We got a lot of CFP news to talk about next week. There's going to be a lot of things that are, the picture's going to look very clear next week for sure. So let's take a break. Whenever we come back, we've got our local roundup, some big local stories coming your way. Stick with us. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition 92.9 KVRE with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, some big high school football news coming down this week out of Lake Hamilton. Coach Tommy Gillerin looking like he might be closing the doors, closing the final chapter on his high school coaching career after 25 years on the sideline. It was announced this week that Coach Gillerin stepping away from the football program and will be retained at Lake Hamilton with a position in the administration. And it's something that Coach Gillerin's kind of been working toward already in his tenure at Lake Hamilton. But we can't say enough good things about this guy. Of course, whenever we started calling the Cobras back in 2010, Tommy Gillerin was the head coach of Fountain Lake, fresh off of his first state championship win, that 2009 year, Fountain Lake winning the title, Fountain Lake's only title. And of course, returning back to his alma mater in 2017, it's every coach's dream, getting to go back and coach the school where you used to walk the halls. And he led Lake Hamilton to a state championship game appearance and a lot of really great seasons with the Wolves. This year, I know they fell short of their goals. They did reach the postseason one more time for Coach Gillerin, though, but it looks like Coach Gillerin may be hanging up the whistle. And Tracy, maybe next fall, he won't be wearing shorts. He'll be wearing pants.
You're exactly right, Mark. But here's another thing. You got to look at the big picture of it all. All the kids that's played for him for the years, including two of mine. But the big picture is what he's done, not only on the field, but off the field.
Absolutely.
So many different things that the kids have followed suit and become successful in. And that's what he was all about. He led the charge and so many times getting awards for other things off the field as well as on the field. And I think if you look at his legacy, yeah, he's won some big games, but I think that what he's won is the hearts of a lot of young men out there and parents for the most part of what he's done off the field. And the charge that he's led for these young men to be successful in life. And that's what I think is his legacy will always be remembered. His style of coaching, of course, the wing tee was something that everybody knew, what you're up against, try to stop me.
That's right.
That was his deal. And for what it's worth, he will be remembered as a great coach. But I think the bigger picture of it all is his legacy off the field also.
Anybody who's ever met Coach Gillerin knows that he develops great football players, yes, but what he will always be known for is developing great young men, husbands, fathers, very passionate about the game of football, but it didn't matter at the end of the night whether it was a win or a loss on the scoreboard. He wanted to make sure that he was teaching the right lessons, a man deeply rooted in his faith, a great leader in his community, on the field, off the field, whether it was at Dover or at Fountain Lake or even at Lake Hamilton. Had a chance to interview him for the 50th anniversary of Fountain Lake this year, and I made sure to say thanks. Made sure to say thank you for the way that he's led people. And I think with all the comments pouring in on social media, it's easy to see how loved he is and still will be to this day for everything that he's ingrained into so many leaders in our community today.
No doubt about that. Hey, big congratulations to, speaking of Lake Hamilton's, Sanaya Cook. How about that? Going to venture further into her collegiate, career at Henderson State playing volleyball.
Yeah, Sanaya Cook, the Wolves senior setter, leading Lake Hamilton to the state tournament in each of the last 3 seasons, had 205 kills, 38 blocks, and 38 digs this year. And of course, her teammate Journey Butler will be joining her as well at Henderson State University. Butler, another senior for the Wolves, led the Wolves in kills in each of her senior high seasons, had 207 kills this year, 180 digs, and 20 aces. Henderson, an NCAA Division II program in the GAC, they went 15-16 this year, lost to Harding in the GAC championship tournament, but I have a feeling they're going to get a lot better in the year ahead.
A lot of good basketball going on around the area too, buddy. Man, oh man, I tell you what, MPC and all around, the high school tournaments around. Looks like we got some great games ahead of us. Unbelievable, huh?
That's right. And of course, I want to give a shout out to one more football program up in White County, Harding University.
Oh, they did
one step closer to its second football championship in 3 years. Harding is undefeated with the second longest home winning streak in Division II, 23 games. They're at home today at First Security Stadium against UT Permian Basin. Kickoff at 2 o'clock. A win puts the Bison in the semifinals.
Real quick one, Ohio State, Indiana.
I'm going Indiana. I think I'm going to be wrong. I want to be right if it happens.
My Hoosiers. I've been riding that one for how many?
I want it to happen so bad.
I do too. And I got to give you credit. Your New England Patriots, boom, shakalaka.
Yeah.
And those Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
They're going to be fighting it out for that.
That could be the AFC title game. You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. That's our show, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. We'll see you next week.
Game over.